what's up everybody? Rick here with Departure Heaven. I hope everybody's doing good tonight. Today's date is the 22nd. Boy, the time is flying. 2024 is flying so quick. We're already almost done with January. Can you believe that, folks? One more weekend and then it's over with, folks. Time is flying. I just want to start off by welcoming everybody to this chat room that we got here. And, welcome to Departure Heaven live broadcast tonight, where we broadcast all the way up to like 12:30. And everybody's welcome to this channel. And I start off by telling everybody, excuse me, to subscribe to this channel. Okay, folks? It doesn't cost any money to do it. It's free to subscribe. So before I begin, please hit that subscribe button. It takes about a second of your time. Smash the like button. That only takes a second to do that too. And share this video out everywhere. And if you got comments, you can leave them in the comments box below after the video is done. Little something I want to bring to everybody's attention. We have a moderator in this chat room now. Her name is Tiffany Nolt. Okay, you'll see a little blue wrench next to her name. She's highlighted in blue. Okay, people, she's going to keep the peace in the chat room. It was brought to my attention last night that there was people being rude in here being rude or something to something she brought to my attention. And I will not tolerate rude people in the chat room, trolls. People, just be respectful to one another, okay? If not, you're going to get a warning from the moderator. If you do it again, you'll be put on timeout, okay? And, I don't know how long the timeout lasts. That's up to Tiffany. Tiffany will let me know how long that person's been put on timeout. So let's be respectful to one another in here, okay, folks? I don't want to have to bring this up ever again, okay? Remember, for Christians, let's start acting like Christians. Not that I'm accusing anybody of not acting like Christians, but you know who you people are. If you want to do that, go somewhere else and do that. Don't do it here. Anyways, folks, let's have a great show tonight. Okay? Let's have a really, really great show tonight. And, everything looks good here. The audio's coming through. I'm going to just do a quick check here to make sure it's coming through. My voice is coming in loud and clear. Okay, good. I just want to start out by, let me just see who's all in here. Watchwoman726, thank you for showing up. Just so you know, folks, I just realized that I have to be when I log out, I can actually see the chat replays on my channel. I was able to do that today. But I can't do that for some reason. The user, when you're on your own channel, you can't see your own replays for some reason. Anyways, let's see who else is in here. We got 12 people now watching. That's going to go up more. Smash the like button, everybody that's viewing. Right now, the only people that are in here is Scott. How you doing? Let's go. Yes, definitely want to go home. Tiffany, and we got Joy, new here, seen you on Uptime. Thank you for coming, Joy. New listener, Truth Seeker, thank you. Cool intro, thank you. Yes, I did it myself. Anyways, folks, okay, I'm just reading this. Hold on. Okay, folks, what is the biggest thought that comes to your mind when you wake up every day? I mean, do you think about what kind of clothes you're going to go buy at the store? Or how much money you got in your bank? Or, I don't know, what kind of makeup you're going to wear for the ladies, and then for the men, what kind of cologne you're going to wear? Or do you think about the first thing you get up is how you're going to I might need a little water or something because my voice is going out on me a little bit. So bear with me, folks. Wow, couldn't finish it. The sentence, I couldn't finish my sentence. Alright, give me 1 second, folks. My throat is hurting. When you wake up, do you think about those things? Or do you wake up in the morning time and the first thing that should be on your mind is how you're going to serve the Lord that day when you wake up? How are you going to serve the Lord today? Folks, my throat is stinging right now. I need to go get a drink out of my fridge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up. Let me see. What can I do while I'm doing that? Let's do this. It won't take me long to get a drink out of the refrigerator. Guys, I apologize. I should have had a drink next to me. I just forgot to get it. I didn't think my throat was going to start messing with me like this. So, let me go get a drink out of my refrigerator. Alright, guys? So, give me 1 second here. Okay, guys. That's better. Oh my goodness. That's so much better. I'm sorry, folks. That happens common with people that talk for long times on a show. Their voices sometimes will go out. I think what it is the air that you take in and out of your throat, it dries. When you keep talking, it dries. It starts to itch. I don't know why that is, but... or you get to a good part about Jesus, your voice cuts out. Because Satan doesn't want me talking about Jesus on here. But let me get back to what I was saying. Do you wake up in the morning worried about what kind of makeup you're going to wear, how your perfume's going to smell? Guys, I talked about a cologne. Or do you wake up on how you're going to serve the Lord that day? That's what I really wanted to say on that. And then, of course, my voice went out. I think we should be thinking about how we're going to serve the Lord that day. It's very imperative that we learn that we put God in our day first before everything else. Now, I get it. If you have a baby, your baby comes first, family first. But while you're attending that baby, you take your deep breath when you get out of your bed. Say, look, I'm going to serve the Lord with all my heart today and all my will. Why I take care of the baby, etc., etc., etc. Whatever you do that day, keep the Lord in check first. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Let me just see who's all in here. I'm sorry, folks. I'm drinking my little drink in front of everybody, which is a good drink to have. Arizona is the best. I'm going to look at this. Yes, I know. Do what I got to do. You're right about that. Seems like our viewers are limited tonight. Wonder why that is. Strangely, we usually have a lot more viewers. Wow. Small enough. Okay, guys. They probably think that this show is the same one from last night. Anyways, let's get right into the news. I want you to see this article, folks. Alright, and we have the main screen up, Google, of course. It's a good place to start. But this right here, this is political. American British forces carry out large-scale strikes on Houthis in Yemen. Okay? And again, this is going on, folks. Okay? This was dated, today's date right here, folks. Okay? U.S. military has launched multiple rounds of preemptive strikes against Houthis' anti-ship missile strikes. Okay? So there it is, folks. The U.S. and U.K. are still doing this thing. They're doing their thing, striking at the Houthis. They conducted large-scale air and missile strikes on Houthis' rebels' facilities across Yemen on Monday. Folks, this is not going to get any better, okay? This is going to keep going on. I think it's going to get worse and worse until we're out of here, okay? No matter how you put it. According to the joint statement, stepping up operation against the militant groups as the vows to continue attacking shipping vessels or ships in the Red Sea. Look at this. Let me highlight it for you. The US and UK militaries, with support from Australia, Burma, Canada, Netherlands, hit 8 targets in Yemen. Hit 8 Houthi targets in Yemen. And in response to the Houthis' continued attack. See, the Houthis are the ones bringing it on themselves. They keep attacking us. We're going to keep smacking them back. Okay? It's like if someone's, pulling the strings trying to keep these wars going almost. We wonder. But this keeps going on, folks. It keeps going on, no matter what. Okay, do they have a video for this? And by the way, Ron DeSantis, our governor, he has dropped out of the race. I don't know if anybody heard that. So, we go to this mode here. And this will bring me to my next article, folks. Oh, I almost clicked the entire page off of where I was streaming. This thing would have canceled out. Yikes, I don't want to do that. This next article I'm about to put up, I'm going to let you see this, okay? And it's got a video, good. Probably a short one. But before I do that, I'm going to give you my thoughts on it before I bring up this article to you. Okay? And let me just load the article first. Alright, do you see it loaded right there, folks? Multiple news sources. This is what I put in Google first. I put in World War III, okay, in the news, under the news column of Google, and I had multiple articles come up, a lot of them saying similar things to this. And I want you to see that I went ahead and clicked on all of them. These were within 5 hours ago, folks, just about every one of them. But look at this. Biden's failure to deter Iran's risk a World War III in the Middle East. This is from The Guardian, folks. Yeah. Okay. I'll do that in a second. Okay. Let me just try to get this video to play real quick. Hold on. And then I'll talk more about it in a second.
Continue until the disruption says. Biden says the U.S. airstrikes against the Houthi terrorists in the Red Sea will continue until the disruption in the region concludes.
Are the airstrikes in Yemen working?
Well, when you say working, are they stopping the Houthis? No. Are they going to continue? Yes.
Biden's admission regarding the airstrikes comes amidst a concern that the Israel-Hamas war will spread further into the region, including in Pakistan and Iran, which is backing the Houthis.
Brand new from Proactive. Meet Proactive Clean, a cleaner, gentler way to clear off acne and occasional breakouts.
Turn this off here. Let me go back up to this article here, folks. There goes my voice again. Sorry. My throat is really messing with me right now. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe there's another live with someone else on the Rapture topic. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, folks, this whole channel is devoted about the Rapture and when it's coming and why all the signs that are pointing to it. Now, folks, I'm just telling you right now that, I got to cover everything on here. I can't just talk just straight up about the Rapture on every sentence that comes out of my mouth. I got to cover the news articles and everything. But, you came to the right place about hearing about the Rapture. This is a good channel to start with. Okay? And also, like I said, folks, I entertain the thought that we don't go on this channel, folks, to shove religion down your throat. We don't come on here to cause harm. We don't say things that are going to throw you off. We don't do all that on here. I really basically tell you what the Bible says. I state what the Bible says. I give you my thoughts on how all the signs are coming together. Okay? So I might have to put a disclaimer up before every show. Tiffany and I will work on that. We'll brainstorm that, my moderator, and we'll come up with a disclaimer so that way this channel, it keeps the channel safe so it doesn't get flagged or anything. Duly noted, Tiffany. I got you on that. Yeah, well, okay, Watchwoman, there's not a lot of people here tonight, but, this channel, the title is similar to the one we had last night, and there was a bunch of people here. Tonight is pretty low turnout. It's probably because people are in bed right now or tired from work. I don't know. But anyways, let's go on with the show, folks. Biden's failure to deter the Iran risk would risk World War III. Do you see this, folks? It is only the benefit of the hindsight that we can now see how Europe's stumbled. Okay? Half asleep in World War I, and at the time, no one could predict how localized regional conflict would spark what was in the most devastating conflict in human history. So you can read this article here, okay, and check it out. Go to the Hill and see how this goes. Okay? Then I'm going to go ahead and go to our next article here. Here it is again. Another article, folks. Okay? Please check this out. You have to see this. I'm going to put it up on the screen so you can see it for your own eyes. Okay? Okay, here it is again. This is from Newsweek. Joe Biden risking World War III. This word World War III is being slung around like it's an everyday term on the news. Former Clinton advisor warns, okay? Let me skip the ad here and see what they have to say. Okay? Here we go. Hold on one second. Let's play the video. have to read this, folks. I'm sorry. What is that? Anyways, let's go back to that video.
And now, the adventures.
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry about that, folks. Let me see what they're saying right here. President Joe Biden approach the conflict in the Middle East. Runs the risk of widening the crisis. Widening the crisis, folks. There it is. Indeed, it will widen the crisis if they keep this course of the war. Okay? Warren Douglas Shulman, okay? Who served as an advisor to the President Bill Clinton. Middle Eastern tensions has flared in the recent months, sparking concerns about the potential for a wider involving United States. The Hamas militia groups October 7 attacking on Israel. Tensions in the region. Conflict is spreading on the areas of the region including Iraq, Yemen, and the Red Sea. Houthi rebel. This is all, folks, this is crazy how this is coming together, okay? I think we're at the point of no return, folks. I don't think this is getting any better. I don't know how this is going to go in the next 30 days from now. I mean, a lot can happen in just 7 days from now, folks. I don't even know. I mean, it depends, folks. Okay? How long does it take for a world war to break out if one missile's fired out of ground and detonates as a nuclear bomb in another country? I'd say 48 hours, 24 hours to 48 hours, folks. That's how much time you would have to prepare yourself to get to a trench, underground bunker before. And then when they yell the DEFCON 1 hits on all the countries in the world, and they declare that it's time to press the buttons, it takes a Minuteman missile to reach its targets in 30 minutes. Okay? That's 30 minutes for you to get on your knees and pray to Jesus that if you die in this atomic blast 30 minutes from now, from a nuclear war, if it does, God forbid, if it breaks out while we're here, that you will not go to hell, but you will go straight to heaven if you die from a nuclear war. Okay? Let that sink in, folks. Alright, hold on, folks. Well, we got a low turnout tonight. Last night was huge. I wonder why it's so low of a turnout tonight. Alright, I'm reading the chat here. Okay. Ay, ay, ay. I'm going to go to the next article, folks. Give me 1 second, folks. Okay. Alright. Let me just fix this real quick. Because I'm doing this all live, okay? I need to figure out how I can set this up where I can just place all my articles. I just click on one button and they come up. I have to learn how to use this software more. Okay. Now here we go again, folks. I'm going to show you this one, okay? Alright, check this out, okay? This deserves attention. This is from the Sun, the U.S. Sun, and it's showing this video right here. Axis of evil, Kim Jong-un and Putin vow to form a NYW is chilling warning to the West as tyrants ramp up United's front. against the U.S. Okay? It comes as tensions in North Korea, or on the Korean Peninsula, are at their highest point in years, folks. In highest points in years. That was dated yesterday. Alright, let me just play this video here. But you can read on this article as well, too. You see how they're pairing up into this? They're getting aligned. This is how I see this. Let's play this video.
Hey Orlando, did you know the #1 Ford Blue Advantage group in the country is just a short drive from you? Gary Yeoman's Ford has over 2,000 vehicles.
There's no sound. Wow. Oh yes, video games, great. I don't want to play that. I don't want to play that.
I know that it's business.
Okay, I didn't get too much out of that, but you see the alignment that's going on there, folks. The North Korean Foreign Ministry said the statement that the two countries agreed to further... Let me put this on the screen while I'm reading this, folks, to you. Okay, sorry about that. The North Korean Foreign Ministry said a statement that the two countries agreed to further strategic and tactical cooperation to defend their core interests in establishing a new multi-polarized international order. Huh. You see how everybody's picking their sides right now, folks? Obviously, you see how all this is going to play out in the future. Okay? I mean, this is what's going to happen, folks, whether we like it or not. Actually, let me not play that yet. I ain't getting into that topic yet. Oh, no. That just, okay, good. Whew, that scared me. I thought I messed that up. Okay, now I have to go here and switch over to window viewer. So we go here. There we go. Give me 1 second while I fix this. Okay. I don't know if everybody can see this. Alright. War News 24/7. Russia escalates. Here is a list of French soldiers who fought and died in Kharkiv. French National Assembly demands explanation. So there's something going on here. Russia is stepping up the pressure on France as Russia's security service leaked the names of 13 French soldiers who were in Kharkiv at the time of the Russian strike as a temporary employment site for foreign mercenaries. So like I said, they're getting involved too. Now it looks like, not like I said, a lot of countries are starting to jump into this war, folks. Alright? I don't know about you guys, but that sounds like World War III stuff that is in the making. So, let me go ahead and take this page off of here. Go back up to me again. Take that one down. Oh, we got a low turnout tonight. Not a lot of people showed up tonight. Wonder why that is. Mr. Music, welcome. California weather's great out there, I'm sure. Let me just look and see who else is here. You need a premium YouTube account without advertisement. I don't know how to do that. I have to look into that maybe. I don't have enough subscribers for that. I'm using OBS. God bless. Thank you. Okay. It's not very busy in the chat tonight. It's very slow tonight. It's not always going to be a busy night in this chat. Last night, this thing was on fire. Everybody was there. It was a big turnout of views. You saw that, Tiffany, right? Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into something else. This is another topic that I'm kind of bringing up. Hey, Eric. Tiffany, you remember Eric, right? Eric? Say hi to Eric, and Eric say hi to Tiffany. Tiffany, you remember Eric, right? He always used to come in our little live Facebook chat. You're freezing, huh? Well, I have to find out what YouTube Premium is, Watchwoman. Okay, well, my focus... I need to know what's going on in my chat room. I monitor both. Alright, let me get out of that. Let's shift gears just a little bit here, folks. If you haven't watched this, how many of you have heard of Nostradamus? Okay? I have. He's got a movie, or a docu-movie is what I want to call it, like a documentary that came out back in 1981. And it's called The Man Who Saw Tomorrow. You can watch it in its entirety on YouTube for free. It's on there. Take a look at it. It's called The Man That Saw Tomorrow. Okay? And it's very good. And it talks about a man with a blue turban. Okay? And I don't remember every detail, but I believe this man with the turban is the Persian Iran. And of course, this guy in Iran doesn't have a turban, or a blue turban, he has a white one. But it had something to do with nuclear war, folks. And this was predicted years ago, way long time ago. Okay? If you don't know who Nostradamus is, he was I'm not going to say he was a prophet from the Bible, but he was a man that saw into the future. He used the Bible, though, to help him out, to boost his accuracy. That's just my belief on that. I've heard that he used the Bible as well. It's a fact that he did use the Bible on some of his predictions. He based it on some of that. Now, we know, folks, that the best prophets in the world are in the Bible, or the ones that prophesied everything, are the ones that prophesied, like Daniel, everybody, all the prophets of the Bible were the best. There's none other than them. The Nostradamus, he's not going to replace any of these guys. Because, he didn't have the power of God in him like these guys did. Okay? The book of Daniel, read the book of Daniel. It's got plenty of prophecies in there about this stuff. But this brings me to this, okay? Let me go back to this page here. Axis of Evil, okay. You saw that right there. I'm going to put in this next article here. I'm going to bring this up. I want you to see this, folks. Alright. Give me 1 second, folks. Alright, hold on 1 second. Something ain't working here. Oh my goodness. Give it a second to load. This is from the New York Post, folks. I don't know if you all seeing this. This is something that deserves attention right now. And I'm not saying pin all your hopes and predictions on this guy Don't place any of your bets on him because he could be wrong. Put all your chips on the table. In other words, place all your bets on nobody. Just believe in the Bible and what the prophets say. There is no betting if they're going to be right. But I meant it as a way of saying it. But bring this guy up, and here he is. This is from this article, New York Post. Nostradamus 2024 predictions reveal, brace yourself for more war and famines. Okay? Let me just play this video for you real quick. Here we go. So it's another sing-along video where you read and you don't get to hear nobody talking. Okay, sorry there was no talking in that video. Let's scroll down, folks, to see what they're saying here. Nostradamus, the 16th century French astrologer known as the Prophet of Doom, ain't that the truth, has few foreboding predictions for 2024. Now, folks, let me stop right there. He never made a prediction for 2024. This is just what they're amping it up to be on here. But it is curious. It is a curious read for me. That is why I'm still reading it, because it is bringing into some light that is what he predicted years ago. It is now happening in our time, with the help of the Bible that he used. According to his 1555 text, Les Prophéties, that's what they call it. The prophecies is what it should be said, and it's in parentheses. This year, 2024, brings continued global strife, including war on the seas, royal turmoil, and humanitarian disaster. Let me read on. His vision of the future is laid out 942 poetic verses called quatrains, and while his writings are somewhat vague, he has been credited with the foreseen rise of Adolf Hitler, assassination of John F. Kennedy, and the September 11 attacks, and COVID-19, and to name a few others. In spite of some who falsely believe his text had predict the apocalypse in 1999, which didn't happen, his visions continue to have for this to say for 2024. Now that's a picture of him right there, folks. China wages war. Nostradamus predicted a combat and naval battle and said that the red adversary will become a pale with fear, putting on the great ocean of dread. Some think it's the red adversary that could be referring to China and their red flag. Okay? Now, let's go to this one here. Now, I want you to look at this really closely, folks. Pope Francis, whose days of shy on his 87th birthday, has been having health issues. Okay? A new pope. Look at this. Pope Francis could soon see a replacement, according to astrologers' predictions. Okay? Though the death of a very old pontiff, a Roman good age will be elected. Of him, it will be said that he weakens his see, but long he will sit and be biting activity, he wrote. How strange is that? Now I'm going to give you a word of a little hope here, folks. There's been a lot of controversy around this man. Okay, and I want to say why. That his beliefs almost make people believe that he's not a fully born-again believer in Christ. Okay? And I'm not going to get into what the controversy is around him, of people, what they're saying, and what the news said about him. But I have to do a whole video on that just to cover that. But I've heard some things about this man that makes you believe that he may not be truly a believer in Christ. Now, this is just an opinion. I'm not stating a fact about him. I'm just telling you what I heard. Okay? Look how old he is. He's in a wheelchair, 87 years old. Some say that he could be the false prophet that accommodates the Antichrist during the 7 years. If it is true, folks, then this man here is getting into the point where he's not going to be able to be of use to the Antichrist because of his health. Does that ring a bell, folks? Does it mean something to you? If Satan or God wants to use this man to be the false prophet, he's going to have to hurry up and do it because this man's health is deteriorating, according to what I just read here, and he's getting old. So it's got to happen now, or if he waits another 5 years or 10 years, this man is not going to be able to be the man for the job, obviously. But there's a new pope coming. Obviously, it looks like there's a new pope on the horizon. Will this next pope be the same controversial man that this man is? Okay? If so, then that might leave that pope wide open for the false prophet when we thought it was this one. I will throw that out there. You never know, folks. Okay? Let me see if there's any more stuff on this page here before I close it out. The Pope had to skip the UN climate conference because of a lung inflammation and breathing problems from the flu. Okay. While some of Nostradamus' doomsday predictions seem bleak, fear not, the most fearsome for 23 predictions have yet to come true, and a few weeks left before the new year. So this was written about before the new year began. Huh. Okay, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, let me go see if there's another good one here. Okay, this one here will catch your eye. Let me go to this one now, folks. Okay, this is from Newsweek. Russian state TV predicts World War III. Look at this, folks. I'm going to play this video here. Okay, hold on one second. It may not be in English. I'm just going to warn you. Here we go.
Я считаю, что Третья мировая будет обязательно. Здесь есть плохая новость и хорошая новость. Плохая новость, что Третья мировая будет обязательно. Я считаю, что Третья мировая будет обязательно.
Okay, I can't pause this for some reason. Oh, there we go. It says, I think that World War III will certainly happen. This is coming from Russian state TV, folks.
Здесь есть плохая новость.
There is bad news and good news about this. I'm just reading the translation at the bottom, folks.
Новость и хорошая новость. Плохая новость заключается в том, что она будет обязательно и будет при нашей жизни, если завтра
As long as the brick doesn't fall on our heads tomorrow.
Дай бог, кирпич на голову не упадет. Ну, то есть в какой-то краткосрочной перспективе. Хорошая новость заключается в том, что мы в ней участвовать не будем. Будем наблюдать ее со стороны. Мировая война обязательно грянет, и грянет она, конечно...
And it will break out in the Middle East. And ain't that the truth, folks? I believe that it won't be over Ukraine. This will definitely be in the Middle East.
На Ближнем Востоке.
Okay. So, let's get out of that.
Я считаю, что Третья мировая будет обязательно. Здесь есть плохая новость и хорошая новость. Плохая новость заключается в том, что она будет обязательно. И будет при нашей жизни, если завтра не дай бог, что Третья мировая будет обязательно. Здесь есть плохая новость и хорошая новость. Плохая новость заключается в том, что она будет обязательно. И будет при нашей жизни, если завтра не дай бог.
Okay, here we go. This is from USA Today. The Excerpt podcast, World War III, Are We at Risk of Global War? This was published at 2:47 p.m. today. On Sunday's episode of Excerpt's podcast, political, military, and economic pressure, along with global alliances and territorial disputes, were all the factors that led to World War I in 1914 and the Second World War that happened in 1939. With these same pressures evident today, is World War III a possibility with a question mark? What might be the tipping point in the spread of a regional conflict that could set off a global war? Okay, you see all that, folks? Let me see if there's a video on it. Here we go. I'm going to play a little bit of this. It's only 11 minutes long. Let's hear some of it. Here we go.
Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to USA Today's The Excerpt ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app.
The Excerpt is sponsored by...
Now, you're going to hear a little ads if we're not a paying subscriber on that one.
NetSuite. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system with 25 years of helping businesses do more with less. Stay tuned after the show for a special offer just for our listeners.
Hello and welcome to The Excerpt. I'm Dana Taylor. Today is Sunday, January 21st, 2024. Political, military, and economic pressures, along with global alliances and territorial disputes, were all factors that led to World War I in 1914 and a Second World War that began in 1939. With those same pressures evident today, is World War III a possibility?
Yes.
What might be the tipping point in the spread of regional conflicts that could set off a global war? We're joined now by USA Today World Affairs correspondent Kim Helmgard. Kim, thanks for being on The Excerpt.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start with one of the bigger conflicts, the Israel-Hamas war. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed that Israel will continue the war with Hamas until it's been completely eradicated. How will Israel and the world know when that's been achieved?
That's a very good question. I think the answer to that depends a little bit on where you're sitting. They've been saying this over and over for months, that the war will end when they have all their hostages back and when Hamas has been eradicated. Now, what that looks like in actuality is, of course, quite difficult for many people to understand. Hamas is a physical presence on the ground. It's also an idea, and it's sort of harder to kill ideas. And we've been kind of seeing that in some of the connective tissue to other theaters in the Middle East between, basically sort of metastasizing events where, other militant groups in the region that back Hamas have been kind of wading into this war in different ways. I think there's a lot of concern about if Israel's goal is to get rid of Hamas. What does that mean for the, almost 2 million people that have been living in Gaza? They've been dying in huge numbers. And it's been extremely difficult for other countries in the Middle East to accept and of course, around the world. And so when Israel talks about its end game, The other side of that sort of equation is, well, there's all these civilians, are they going to get pushed out to other countries? Are they going to have to live in a place that is, completely destroyed?
Well, the conflict's already spread in the region. What's happening at the northern border in Lebanon with Iranian-backed Hezbollah?
Hezbollah is a militant group based in Lebanon that is supported by Iran financially, also helps train its fighters. And, Israel has sort of long been in a very low sort of simmering war with Hezbollah in some way. Hezbollah and the question of whether it actually joins this war in a more full-throated manner is something that is of deep concern to the Israelis. Hezbollah is better funded, it's more well-trained, it's got a lot more fighters than Hamas. These are sort of battle-hardened militants who've also been fighting in Syria over the years. They pose quite a big threat.
Well, now Iran has launched attacks on what it calls militant bases in Pakistan. The Pakistani government called it an unprovoked violation of their airspace. Iran also recently launched missile strikes in northern Iraq and Syria. What's going on there?
I'm glad you brought that up. These are kind of tit-for-tat attacks that have been taking place on either side of the Iran-Pakistan border. It's a good reminder that not all of the conflict and war in that region is directly involves the West. And so basically, over the last couple of days, Pakistan and Iran have been trading what they've both described as retaliatory airstrikes that have been targeting different militant hideouts on either side of that border. And essentially, the two countries have accused each other of kind of providing safe haven to groups in their respective countries. Iran and Pakistan, these are complicated countries. They each face their own internal political pressures.
Before we pivot from the Middle East, I'd like to talk about what's going on with Yemen's Houthi rebels. The U.S. and U.K. carried out strikes against the rebels several times over the past week or so. What are the Houthis' goals here, and has the U.S. allied response been effective?
So the Houthi goals are, the sort of overarching goal is to disrupt commercial shipping in the Red Sea. Red Sea, as many people may know, it's a huge conduit to getting goods more easily, more cheaply shipped to places in Europe, North America, and so on, without having to go around the Horn of Africa. In an act of solidarity, when the Israel-Hamas war broke out, the Houthis wanted to sort of demonstrate that they were concerned about everything that was happening in Gaza and the scale of the sort of Israeli bombing campaign there. And so these sort of targeting ships in the Red Sea was one way that they could do it. That, of course, has brought a response from the U.S. and the UK, who've been trying to locate and bomb some of the Houthi logistics hubs, missile launchers, drone sites, and all sorts of things that are based in Yemen. Hezbollah and the Houthis in particular are dissatisfied with Israel's sort of connections to the U.S. And how that impacts the Middle East. They feel that the U.S. sort of backs Israeli policy in many different ways, not just against Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank and elsewhere, but that it essentially is a bad influence on the region. And so therefore, they've been sort of expressing that and striking back in any way that they can.
Let's move on to the other big global conflict that we've been following, Russia's nearly 2-year invasion of Ukraine. Following Russia's incursion, Ukraine hoped to fast-track a membership into NATO, essentially forcing members of the alliance into joining the conflict. One of the key doctrines states that an attack on one is an attack on all. But there still is a strong alliance of Western nations supporting Ukraine. At what point are other countries considered to be directly involved in the conflict?
Yeah, just to give folks a little bit of context about what's happening in Ukraine at the start. I mean, there's an effective deadlock along the whole of Ukraine's eastern front with Russia. Ukraine is not part of NATO. This is the military organization that is kind of one of the peacekeepers in Europe since the end of the Second World War. Neither is Russia, for that matter. But Ukraine, of course, is located in a neighborhood where there are a lot of NATO countries. And there's been a few kind of close calls. About 18 months ago, it seemed like a Russian missile had flown into Poland and killed a couple of farmers. It turned out, once an investigation took place, that it was actually debris from a Ukrainian anti-Russian missile that had kind of dropped into Polish territory. But that, of course, this idea that the war or Russia's invasion of Ukraine would sort of eventually somehow spill out, outside of that immediate geographic location. Biden administration, Republican lawmakers are kind of in a deadlock over whether to send billions more military assistance to Ukraine. The various EU countries have been complaining, kind of pointing the finger at each other, actually saying that not enough weapons are being sent there.
What's the significance of the U.S. choosing sides in some of these conflicts, namely Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan? And by choosing sides, I mean supplying arms. How many of our allies are doing the same?
It kind of depends on where you're looking. I mean, certainly, like if you look at countries like Germany, France, the UK, they've all got their private arms companies that supply weapons to different conflicts and theaters around the world, the Russians as well. Nobody does it, as far as I'm aware, to the extent that the U.S. does it. So I think in terms of the significance of it, the countries that need those weapons certainly cry out for them. Is it always helpful? It's unclear. But I have to say, other countries are catching up. Now you're starting to see, countries that didn't manufacture weapons get into the game because they feel that it's a way to make money, have influence, and also, project power in different ways, and also help.
How might we define a world war this time around? What would be the irrefutable signs that we're moving in that direction?
So, I just want to say I'm going to knock on some wood in my office while we're chatting, because I don't want to, sound too bullish on the idea that there is no World War III out there, because when you kind of say those things, they tend to come back on you quite quickly. But this is a great question. Warfare looks so different now than it did compared to, the middle of the 20th century or earlier, where, you had to have so many troops physically in a place. But now that we have all this technology, now that we have all these kinds of tools and, ways to precisely kill people from like a computer screen, there is an argument maybe to say that when there are these sort of limited strikes, that really that's just how world wars in our time, what they look like. So, that may be oversimplifying it. To try to get at your question a little more head on, how can we be confident that we're in a third world war? I think that when you will have like lots of countries at scale involved, coalescing around certain ideas and certain rationales, and that there's sort of like clearly drawn battle lines. I don't mean that just sort of militarily, but like also sort of morally. And I think it'll be easier for a lot of us to understand whether we're in a kind of another great war.
Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I don't know if that article was boring. I don't know if it was or not. It had some good points in there about their thoughts on if we're headed to World War III. It just reason why I'm playing these things is other people are saying this, that what is coming. It's not just me saying it, okay? I mean, it is coming from everywhere, okay? Every news outlet is starting to talk about World War III. World War III. I did a search, okay, with World War III, okay, under the news column. All these results came up. I don't know if you can see this, but USA Today, 8 hours ago. That one we just looked at right there. That was an excerpt podcast. Okay, Joe Biden is risking World War III. There's that one I showed you. See, when I put all those articles up near the beginning of the show, these were taken from these search results. Asian Times, that one right there. Look at this. Another one that's talking about it. Time to dig a World War III bunker. I mean, why are all these people talking about this, folks? I mean, look at this. We are planning your total war survival strategy. Consider any great conflict to come won't likely look like anything we've seen before now. This article was printed on January 27th, 2024. And then they got a picture of a bunker right there. You see that? Former Cold War nuclear bunker in Caldwell, United Kingdom, is up for auction credit. So now they're selling out old bunkers and reviving them because they all know it's coming, folks. That's what it is. How worried should European citizens be in the countries that have come to expand or expect the unpredicted levels of security and safety? I'm reading this from this article, and if there are many warnings currently circulating to believe that the answers would look grim. So I'm reading that from that. And that's just a slideshow. And there's nothing, they got people putting Twitter stuff up here on Twitter. Boy, I just forgot that I don't have a back button on this. I gotta figure out why that is, folks. Hold on a second here. No, that's not letting me do it. Okay, guys, hold on a second. I have to go get this URL again because it's not letting me do it. Hold on. I wish they had a back button on this thing, but they don't. Apparently I can't do it. Alright. Refresh browser when scene becomes active. Shut down source when not available. Okay. I'm gonna have to restart this thing here. Hold on a second, guys. There it is again, folks, right there. If you just click it under this news article, you'll see it. Why is NATO preparing for World War III? There's from the UN HEND. Newsweek, we already covered that one. The Sun, inside secret project backing up Earth in case of a World War III. Wow, folks. Am I able to open this up in another tab? Okay, it won't let me do that. Time to dig a World War III bunker. We just looked at that. Vid shows sights and sounds of World War III nuclear blast hitting city 11 hours ago. These are all recent, folks. Some are 2 days, some are 6. Jim Clean's military purge, high stakes gaming in shadow World War III. Here's one from a week ago. Germany's preparing for Russia to start World War III. Leaked plan revealed. This is New York Post. Let me read this one. And there's a video on it too. Hold on one second. Let's see if this is a video. Yeah, it is a video. Okay, give me 1 second, folks. Let it load. They don't give me a skip button at all on here. Just great. Okay, there it is. That's only 27 seconds long. Great. Listen to this, folks. Okay, you saw that, folks. It really wasn't much on there. Germany's preparing. Okay, I just read that. I have to read some of this to you, okay? Europe is preparing for Russia presidential Vladimir Putin to expand his country's war in Ukraine and attack NATO ally countries next year, leaked document German paper reveals. Folks, did you just see this, what I just said to you? This is from the New York Post. You know, I don't know if they lie about everything they put on it. I'm not saying they do, and I'm not saying they don't, but they're a pretty reputable news agency. They've been around for years. I don't think they're going to put stuff on here that's not true. But Europe is preparing. Let me read this to you again, folks. Well, Europe is preparing for Russian presidential Vladimir Putin to expand his country's war in Ukraine and attack NATO allied countries next year. Leaked documents, public. So, if we go through all of 2024, nothing happens, we're still here. Next year, if this is true and it happens, you can bet your bottom dollar we will be out of here in the rapture. The Lord will not put his church, I believe, through a thermonuclear war. I just don't see that happening. So now we have a little more something here to work with. Now, of course, this could happen a lot sooner, the way things are going. Someone can absolutely do something to piss off another country. And then there can be a spark right there. And then Israel, folks, is the ticker. We more or less should be watching Israel more than anything. I believe when Israel gets attacked on all sides, folks, that's when I believe that the rapture will be triggered. Let me say that again. When Israel gets attacked, okay, from all sides, okay, when she can't defend herself, I believe that's how it's going to happen, because God's going to throw in the Antichrist right away like a referee stopping up a fight that's getting out of hand. We have to go before the Antichrist comes onto the world scene, folks. Okay? There's so much to talk about. Like, I'm not going to be able to fit it all into one show. Okay? But we know what the Antichrist is going to do, folks. We know what he stands for and what he's planning on doing with the masses, the world masses, when he gets them under his control. Okay? We know the whole entire system that's being put in place, that's being ready for him. Okay? All the stuff that's working behind the scenes is ready for him. Okay? Folks, you don't have to worry, because we're going home. We're not even looking for the Antichrist. We're looking for Jesus Christ to come back. Okay? We don't have to worry about it. Now, you just saw that article right there, folks. Let me put that right back on the screen again. This is from the New York Post. That Putin is planning on an attack here, it looks like. Look at this. According to the outlet, which obtained the classified military information from German Ministry of Defense, the country's armed forces gearing up for a hybrid Russian attack on Eastern Europe. I've heard about this stuff, folks. I've already heard about this in other papers. I think they brought it up, or somebody brought it up, about something similar to this. I read it somewhere. The newspaper detailed how multiple potential alarming scenarios that can unfold in the months ahead. So now we're talking months, not a year, as it puts it here. Okay? Now, folks, I'm not on here trying to scare fear into you, okay? Don't get me wrong. You know, alright? I'm not on here trying to scare the crap out of you, okay? All I'm telling you is I'm just delivering the news to you like a watchman that I am. And I'm letting you know that we don't have nothing to worry about, because I know the Lord is coming anytime now, okay? For his church. Alright? We're not going to have to worry about being left behind, unless you're a non-believer, that is, and worry about mushroom clouds going off all around us and killing us all. I don't believe that's going to happen, folks. So let me go back. Let me just show this art. This is a very alarming article, folks. Okay. One such scenario, dubbed allowance. One such. Oh boy, this thing is kind of small. Hold on. There we go. One such scenario dubbed as Alliance Defense 2025. There is a key word. I'm gonna put that in Google and see what we come up with. Would start in February with Russia mobilize an additional 200,000 soldiers. Let me read that again, folks. One such scenario dubbed Alliance Defense 2025 would start in February with Russia mobilizing an additional 100,000 or 200,000 soldiers. What are they gearing up for, folks? I mean, this is crazy. Okay, well, we got a little chart here we can go off of. Russia planned to hit NATO. I mean, this is coming from a news outlet, folks. We never thought I'd ever read stuff like this on here. I never thought that I would read stuff like this on the internet, okay? And here I am reading it. Okay? Never thought I would read this stuff, okay? This is darn right scary if you're a non-believer, okay? But I'm reading this right now I'm not making it up, folks, okay? Look at it again. I'm showing you right now in front of your faces. Russia planned to hit NATO, okay? Leaked documents, okay, from German Ministry of Defense shows the government is worried Russian President Vladimir Putin will target NATO next in the following plan. So, look, folks, when Russia's done with Ukraine, which they're wrapping up right now, I hear that they're almost done with Ukraine. Because Ukraine's running out of missiles and ammunition and all that. We're not supplying them anymore because Russia, we are done supplying them. I heard that the president stopped supplying Ukraine with the $1 billion aids that he's been doing. Military, etc., all that stuff. It's no more. Ukraine's pretty much lost the war for what I've been hearing. Okay? Russia's now already claiming victory over Ukraine. It's starting to look like. They're going to wrap up in a few months, I heard. I think Douglas McGregor said something about it. I'd love to get him on this show. If that is so, folks, if it's true, folks, then that means that Russia will have its hands no longer tied anymore to Ukraine. They'll have their hands free to do the next phase of their war presence in Europe. And I believe this is it right here, folks. What I'm showing you right here. This. Look. Zoom in if you have to. Okay? This is really, really alarming stuff, folks. Okay? Look at the plan. February 2024. This is this month coming up, folks. Okay? Russia calls 200,000 more troops. Spring of 2024. It launches a spring offensive against Ukraine. Okay, so they're doing something with Ukraine. You see arrows here? Number 2 points to number 2 position on this map. So it comes down here, okay? Number 1, Russia, their troops. Number 2, spring offensive, down at the bottom, arrow down at the map. Number 3, July 2024. Cyber attacks against Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. I think that's what it is. And stirring up Russian nation who lives in those nations. Number 4, September 2024. You would think we'd be out of here by that time. Using the Russian national pretense saying Bacon's rightfully theirs military exercise called Zelpa 2024 launched with 50,000 Russian soldiers, yada yada yada, moving troops to. Okay, then December 2024, taking advantage of the translation period of U.S. elections. Oh, there's the U.S. election. I wonder who's going to be president at that time. That's if even we're still here, folks. Russia claims border conflict forces it to take control of a security gap, common connections. January 2025, Russia falsely accused NATO of plotting to overthrow Putin. March and May of 2025, outright conflict between NATO forces and Russia forces in the Balkans. That's probably how it's going to start World War III in that part of the world. But if Israel gets attacked, folks, okay? If Israel gets attacked on all sides, folks, it's game over for Israel. Israel's not going to be able to defend itself and thwart off all those attacks, okay? We should more or less be keeping our eyes on the Israel war than this Russian thing that's going on over there. Okay? That's a long-term plan in the dust out there in the future. Okay? It may not even turn out, it may not even happen that way, folks. It may not happen that way. Okay? I don't know where they got that information from. Russia would not be stupid enough to reveal their plans like that. Okay? I think either someone just brought up something, their best of their scenario of what they think Russia's going to do. Okay? That's thought, think. That's what I'm thinking right now. Okay? Keep your eyes on Israel. Okay? The war in Israel is what's happening right now. The Houthis, Yemen, us, UK against Yemen. All that stuff. Russia giving us warnings not to attack down there. Russia involvement, all it takes is the Russian troops to go in there and we start firing bullets at them and we fire bullets right back, our military, and it's on, folks. That's enough to start the big world war, the global missiles coming out of the ground. Okay? Russia will not stand for that, folks. You hear me now? Okay? Yeah, it is surrounded. It looks like it, folks. Alright, Ken, sorry you couldn't stay up and watch the show. Everybody that's watching this right now, if you haven't smashed the like button, just do it. It only takes a second of your time to do this, folks. Okay? If you haven't subscribed, it's free to subscribe to this channel. Please do that right now. Okay? Right now, the situation with Israel, God's chosen land is Israel. That's where the clock is ticking. I don't think it's clicking with this here, okay? I don't think it's clicking with that, all right? This is phenomenal, folks. It's not. I think it's ticking with the Israel stuff. Which brings me to this. This channel covers a lot of news that's going on in the Middle East, okay? All right? And I will take you to this right now, folks.
In the heart of Gaza, where hope is a precious rarity, every meal we give means hope for kids and families.
Bombardment has so far failed in its objective of stopping attacks by the Houthis on vessels in the Red Sea. Washington nonetheless plans to continue the attacks and hold the Houthis accountable for their actions, but not at the expense of Yemenis.
If you haven't checked these people out, you haven't subscribed to this channel, these people, WION, they're very reputable. They have a good news coverage. Subscribe to them. A shout out to them as well. Like their videos. Let's continue with this, what they're talking about. This is the very latest. Iran-Pakistan tensions live. Iran's president vows to punish Israel after attacks on Syria. Syria is now getting involved in this, folks. Syria is starting to come into the picture. Isaiah 17, I can smell it from here, folks. It's getting ready to happen. I personally believe that. Here we go.
Powerful narco bosses, Jose Adolfo Marcius, better known by his alias, Fito. The newly elected president, Daniel Noboa, has declared a 60-day of state emergency. But the gangs have retaliated with their own declaration of war on the state. In 30 different attacks across the country, more than 200 prison staff were taken hostage. Bombings took place in several cities, and even a state-owned television station was attacked during a live broadcast. In an intimidatory tactic, the public prosecutor who was investigating the dramatic attack was gunned down by the criminal gangs on the 17th of January in Guayaquil, which is now rapidly gaining notoriety as the most dangerous city in Ecuador. Our next report gets more details.
Barely 2 months into his term, 36-year-old Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa finds himself at the center of an all-out war between the government and the powerful narco gangs. On Wednesday, in a brazen attack undoubtedly meant to convey a message.
Okay, what I should do is just go right to their site. Look at what they're talking about here. Here we go. Let's look at this article. Israel-Hamas war. War will continue at all fronts. Let's read it. Let's listen to this one.
Now, the Israeli military has said that 200 of its soldiers have been killed in Gaza since its ground operations began in late October. And this comes on a day when close to 200 Palestinians were killed in the last 24 hours alone. And the death toll in Gaza, it's crossed the 25,000 mark. This as per the Palestinian Health Ministry. The numbers are mounting, and so is the pressure on the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Relatives of Israelis held hostage in Gaza interrupted a parliamentary meeting demanding the government to take urgent action for their release. The group broke into a meeting of the Knesset's Finance Committee, chanting, "Everybody and now," to urge the return of all hostages.
What happened today at the Knesset was an expression of immense sorrow and pain that cannot longer be contained, and we're no longer asking for pity, we're asking for action.
Family members and supporters also protested near Netanyahu's residence in Jerusalem. They spilled blood-red liquid on a road and banged drums. And this comes even as European foreign ministers pressed Israel on a two-state solution. At a meeting in Brussels, they criticized Netanyahu's clear rejection.
There's the two-state solution they're talking about.
Of the creation of a Palestinian state. Meanwhile, Britain and the United States have unveiled new asset freezes and travel bans on Hamas.
Folks, this is exactly what we've seen in the Mega Code movies, the Antichrist Tribulation movies. And all of them, Left Behind, I heard they shows the Antichrist holding up a piece of paper with the agreement on it saying the two-state solution surrounding all the wars that have been going on at that moment. This is exactly where we're at, folks. We are just one hair closer right there at the door of the rapture. It has to be close, folks.
The United States has also announced sanctions on Iraqi airline Fly Baghdad, saying it provided assistance to Iran's military wing. Washington says the move is a response to the Iran-backed militia's regular strikes against bases housing U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria. An Israeli Prime Minister rejected Hamas's conditions for hostage deal. But diplomats are pushing to resurrect the idea of a two-state solution. Josep Borrell, European Union's foreign policy chief, is...
That is why we're seeing could be why we're seeing this. The totalitarian, can't say the name, where we have a solar eclipse happening on April 8th, and it's going to draw like an X over the U.S. Is U.S. helping to divide Israel? Yeah, you saw it. President is asking for this two-state. They're all pushing Israel in the corner right now, folks, trying to get Israel to do this against her will. It ain't going to happen, folks. Israel will not stand for it, and God won't stand for it either, folks. Okay? Boy, did this thing just lock up? Okay, it did not. I thought my software locked up. Okay. Like I said, folks, it's not going to happen. God's not going to stand for that. He said in the Bible that whoever divides my nation, I shall divide their land too. Maybe that's why there's an X over the U.S. Is the U.S. even in the Bible during the tribulation? I heard it's not in there for some reason. Makes you wonder. Let's continue.
Is now determined to pursue a two-state solution in West Asia. While speaking at the monthly gathering of EU foreign ministers in Brussels, Borrell said that Israel cannot build peace and can only build military means, and emphasized on the harrowing humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Listen to this.
Certainly, the way of trying to destroy Hamas is not the way they are doing, because they are seeding the hate for generations. We have in mind what Hamas is, what Hamas has done, and certainly we reject and we condemn. But the peace and stability cannot be built only by military means, and not in this particular way of using military means.
What is the two-state solution, and is it possible? Let's try and explore this. The two-state solution has long been proposed as the best hope for peace in the Israel-Hamas conflict. And if mutually accepted, it would see an independent Palestinian state established alongside the existing one of Israel, giving both countries their own territory. But as the Israel-Hamas war rages on its 109th day, the two-state solution, it's become the most widely accepted policy internationally. This even as Israelis and Palestinians increasingly see it as an impossibility. But when we look back at history, it seems like Israeli occupation is the key issue that prevents Palestinians from forming their own state. In 1967, Israel took control of the Palestinian territories, which is Gaza, the West Bank and East Jerusalem. Palestinians ever since have lived under military rule. So even if the two-state solution is put in force, the biggest obstacle would be in deciding what the borders of a potential Palestinian state would be. An increasing number of Israeli settlements have been established inside the West Bank. As per international law, these are still considered illegal. So even if the occupation were to end, there is little land on which Palestinians could build a state, because an Israeli settlement movement in the Palestinian territories will involve over 700,000 people, meaning some would have to be resettled in Israeli territory, which Israel is unlikely to tolerate or allow. Israel's assault on Gaza, it's left over 25,000 Palestinians dead, the vast majority of women and children, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. Netanyahu has won complete victory over Hamas after the October 7th attacks. But the question is, can Hamas be completely eliminated? While some military analysts deny the possibility, others point out that Israel's campaign may degrade the group's capabilities, but defeating its ideology is impossible without a political solution.
Pets make us better people.
Okay, you saw that, folks. Okay, a lot is going on right there with that. They're talking about the two-state solution and everything else, folks. Boy, my throat is kind of bothering me tonight, folks. How long have I been on? How long have I been on air? I've been on air for 1 hour and 33 minutes. I think I'm going to end my show a little early tonight. Because I mean, this drink is already almost gone. Once it's gone, I'm going to need another one. So, folks, let me just wrap up. I mean, I'm going to wrap up the show by saying this, okay? Whether we know it or not, this is going to happen. And I believe that this year looks pretty good for the Rapture. It's just my opinion. Because the way things are moving this fast. We're only 23 days in now. It's 23rd. We're 23 days in, and look at how much has transpired in this. I mean, a lot has happened in just that many days, folks. I mean, we are seriously close to the Rapture. I really believe it. Okay. Anyways, folks, well, what is today? It's going to be Tuesday, so yeah. So, folks, either way you look at this, folks, we're still here. We need to make the best of the time while we're here by getting busy for God, for the Lord. If you're worried about everything else in your life, you're worried about what you're going to be doing in the next 10 years from now, hey, that's great, but, you know, keep your eye on the ball while you're at it. So, let's not take our eyes off of Israel. I believe Israel is God's prophetic time clock. That is where that will determine the timing of the rapture, is Israel. Now Israel's in the picture. It's in the news every day. They are at war right now with its neighbors. And this is something that has been a long time in the making, I believe. God had to time all this perfectly to meet that day and hour that he has planned for the rapture of the church. So yeah. And yes, Wild West, I do believe that we are going home soon. Yeah, it's hard to plan when you know that all this is going on. I wake up every day, I put God first in my day, and it's hard to plan. It's really hard to see us here another 3 years down the road. I just feel something doesn't feel right looking at 2026, 27, maybe 25, the latest. I don't know. I just feel like those years are already, the tribulation has started by that time. Okay? So, folks, what do you think? Do we all agree on something together that Israel is our ticket out of here? I think that's how it's going to happen. All eyes is on Israel. Israel will become a cup of trembling. Okay? And everybody around the world. Whatever happens, if Israel falls apart, I believe the world will fall apart along with her. I've heard that saying several times, okay? And I'm not saying if Israel falls that the world's going to fall completely with it. I'm just saying it's what I've heard. Okay? If the world suddenly went against Israel right now, and Israel will be smashed to the ground if that happens. Therefore, God's going to have to step in. God will never let Israel be completely destroyed. No matter how many warhead missiles you throw at it, or nuclear missiles, it's not going to happen. Because the hand of God will supernaturally protect Israel. Rather, he puts a barrier over Israel that nobody can hit it anymore, or the rapture of the church where he gets the Antichrist out to stop it like a referee. That is what I believe is coming next. We're in exciting times, folks. We know how it ends. Okay? We know how it ends. It ends with the rapture. World War III ends with the rapture, folks. That's how it's going to end. Okay? The more you see going on right now, the more war fronts that you see opening up, start marking off your days to the rapture. That's how quick it's going to happen, folks. When they're getting ready to launch the keys, and they had those keys in the ground, or the keys in the slots, and they're getting ready to press the button after they cracked open the key code card, the rapture's got to take place around that moment. That's just my personal belief. So there's things that could trigger the rapture. Israel being attacked, the ring of fire, 150,000 missiles hitting Israel at once. All attacked from all sides. They're already starting to fight a war from all sides. The Houthis, the war in Yemen, the US and UK, all that stuff, folks, everything that's going on is ticking off Iran right now. And we know Iran and Hamas and all of them, they're in bed together. In other words, they're together on this attack against Israel. If you look up this ring of fire around Israel, 150,000 missiles are pointed at Israel right now. They haven't activated it yet. I believe when they hit and they launch all of them at once, or they're probably going to do that at a last minute ditch, that is enough to destroy probably most of Israel. In the Bible, it says only 2/3 of Israel gets destroyed, folks. If that happens, we know for a fact. And then Isaiah 17 can be triggered from this all. Because now Syria is involved. Okay? All these things are all in place now, folks. Now we're just waiting for it to really blow up. When it does, I believe the horn will blow right then. And we'll be gone, folks. This brings me to my thought on that. It's all exciting for us, but it ain't going to be exciting for a non-believer. all he's going to see on the other side of the rapture is people disappearing around him, or he or she. Us, we're going to be in our glorified bodies on this side of the rapture. We'll see Jesus, we'll go up in the clouds, be a great day. Greatest day of our life, actually. On the other side, it's going to be nothing but terrifying moment for the non-believer. And he's going to wish that he listened to all the people that have told him about this. And he decided, well, I'll just wait. And you wait till it's too late, go right ahead. It isn't too late to get saved even after the rapture, but it'll be a lot harder to get saved. You'll be under a lot of pressure from the Antichrist and all of its dominion, everybody. Right now, folks, if you don't know Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, you need to do that right now, folks. This is nothing to mess with. Okay? Time is short. Really short. Do not put it off another day. You ask Jesus in your heart, believe he died, rose again on the cross for your sins. Truly believe it with all your heart. Don't just say it and walk away. Say it and truly believe. Come to God, folks. Come to God and say you want Jesus to pardon your sins. You do that, folks, you will be saved right there on the spot. The Holy Spirit will then indwell in you. You have nothing to worry about. The Holy Spirit will then take over your life. And you'll have a change of heart toward your sins after that. I promise you that. You'll feel different about everything on your sins. This is a supernatural change that takes place. Okay? And you will go to heaven if you were to pass away that day. You'll have the assurance of the afterlife, of eternal life in heaven, not in hell. Or, at the rapture, you will be rapture ready, folks. When the rapture happens, your feet will leave the ground. Alright, guys, I'm wrapping up. As my throat is a little bit messing with me. It's 15. I usually go off at 12:30, 10:30 to 12:30. Okay? Sorry this show wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. But, you know, it's all about preparing for the show. Plus, my throat was bothering me tonight. So, I just came out of a cold snap. So, it's the cold weather, it's warming back up and it messes with your throat. Good night, Eric. Thank you for showing up. So, everybody, I'm just going to say good night. Alright? Tiffany, thank you for coming and moderating the room tonight. She didn't have to give anybody the boot tonight. That's good. Truth Seeker, good night. Thank you. Good night, Watchwoman. Anyways, folks, maybe I'll be live again tomorrow night. Maybe, maybe not, depending on the news, okay? Depending on how hot the news is when I'll go live or not, okay? I don't want to be on here just talking about the same thing every night and just rewinding like a broken record, okay? So, I usually like to get on here if there's major developments or something breaking, like a major war front. But, no, I'm not saying I'm not going to do live shows anymore. I will, okay? Now, if it's just a regular news clip, I'm going to do it as a regular video, okay? So, but I will still do live shows most of the time, or, you know, depending on how hot the news is that day, okay? So, okay, guys. Everybody say goodnight to everybody. I'm going to sign off, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you joining. Please subscribe to this channel. If you haven't done it, it's free to subscribe. Hit the like button. Share this video out everywhere with everybody. Mr. Music, thank you. Have a good night. And the rest of the people that are not chatting, good night to you as well. Find Jesus. He's coming at any moment, folks. It's an imminent event. Good night, everybody. Thank you. All right, guys. Take care.